Hello world, No here, just shedding some light on how I am at peace with the murder and death of my brother. One, I don't see death as a lot of people see it. I see death as a graduation from life school here on earth. It's a guaranteed graduation. It's going to happen to everyone and everything. Nothing lasts forever, even us. Also, I believe that we are just energy emotion sometimes when we're not stagnant, in a shell. And that when we leave our shell, our energy floats on. Float on. Or flies free, like I know my brother is flying free. Also, I've had my own out of body experiences where I wanted to leave my shell because I got a taste of what it is like on the other side. Free from the shell, free from the being bound here on earth, free to be in more than one place at a time or instantly, free from this thing in here that causes heaven and hell, the consciousness, the voices, the fight, the right and wrong, this or that, free from the mind, which is its own kind of playground. What else? Do you guys remember that movie Crash? I share this with a lot of people. That movie Crash. If you don't remember it or vaguely remember it, I highly suggest you watch it again. From my understanding, what I got from it is, yes, there was a lot of different encounters with different races and people experiencing different ways of living or being and crashing into each other. And then after the crash or the breakdown of the incident, the lesson that was learned, right? And for me, since we're all energy in these shells, we are like magnetic. So we attract other energies, people, situations, and ultimately, one of my examples is this, so if you've ever been in a car accident, I'm still just in inquiry of it depends on who's at fault, right? But I have it that the person who is at fault or takes responsibility for being at fault, no. The person usually who is at fault probably had some very negative stuff happening in their lives, or negative thoughts about stuff that was happening in their lives, because thoughts are energy, thoughts become words, words become actions or attractions. We create our own world. Your word is your wand. You could see that in my health and wellness influencer interview. It's shared on my page and pinned to the top. Oh, I just got a nice text. So, because we're energy, if we're sitting in a car and we're in a car full of metal, right? We become even more magnetic, and then that energy attracts, that negative energy attracts a different metal. And then there's the crash. my middle brother, Michael, was so full of negative energy. Part of it his own, part of it enhanced by substances, so an altered level of consciousness, and sometimes the substance can alter a negative thought or vibration into like a higher or a more negative. Like if you've ever done shrooms and you've been in a bad place, or if you like smoke weed and you were in a bad place, and that's what they call people having a bad trip, right? Or like if you're on alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant, right? It might be a stimulant in the beginning, but when you come down, it's a depressant. So there's a give and take with everything, a balance, a up and a down, a yin and a yang. So somebody asked me for my logic or understanding, and it's not difficult for me to share. It's difficult for people to understand my logic and understanding, because I don't think like a lot of people do. Not the majority. I'm not a follower. I'm not a sheep. I'm not a go with the crowd, or I'm my own person. I have a lot of questions. I ask them. I find out information. I don't just make assumptions anymore, or go with like what are these called? These stereotypes, or they still exist. They're in my head. Don't get me wrong. I am human, or here with this human mind. But I can analyze things and gain a different perspective, right? Like all these political things involved. Like most people would, I would think, follow whatever party they're in and their stuff that they would follow, right? They're a fan of it, so they're going to follow that. For me, I follow all parties, so I can look at all perspectives and see where everyone is coming from, so I can come to my own understandings and conclusions and thoughts. Because part of what the system teaches, the broken system that is not very effective, it teaches us what to think and not necessarily how to think. I've said this in many of my videos before. And so I don't think like the majority. I don't believe in heaven and hell. I believe that, like the religious type of heaven and hell, I believe that heaven and hell is right here, and it's like that conscious that lives on your shoulders, the angel and the devil, the good and the bad, thoughts, all that goes on in here. You've experienced it. So my brother's thoughts were very negative, very loud, and very attractive. And so the metal that the vibration of his brain attracted was that of a bullet and a gun. And some people might think in wrong or right, or justice. I don't agree with this justice system because I've seen it failed many times, witnessed it with many people, and just see the evidence of it failing. So the justice system that we currently have, for me, it doesn't work. It's ineffective. And so I don't care if this person is locked up. And people say, well, what about, if he kills other people? I shared at my brother's funeral. I'm a big Yellowstone fan. And there was this story, not a story, a scene that there was 3 generations, the dad, son, and grandson. And the grandson was killing his first deer. So he killed the deer. And then, it was a proud moment, but then he got up close to the deer and then was sad because he took a life. And his grandpa and dad were explaining it's a big deal to take a life. And everything gets killed. And the grandson asked the grandpa, will something kill us one day? And the grandpa says, yes, something will kill us. It might be something so small that we can't see it, like a virus, something microscopic, a cancer or something. Or a cancer that turns bigger. Or it might be a big old bear, so something you can obviously see. But that there's no such thing as dying from natural causes. Something kills us all. And not only that, I believe that my brother is out of his pain and out of his misery that he was experiencing here, being bound on earth in an environment that wasn't working for him. Which is why he turned to drugs or the lifestyle. And I also believe that the religious aspect has a lot to do with that, in making people feel guilty for being who they are. I believe that God is an all-loving God that doesn't condemn. That humans are the ones that do that. Humans put their opinions and perspective on it, just as I am now. And others, or religious people, do that in their own different way and call it right because it's that way. So I also don't believe in right and wrong. I just believe in that there's what works and what doesn't work. And there's a lot of things that don't work. What I could say is, if we want something, there's something that we want, and we want others to do, it has to start with ourselves. I want sobriety, I want happiness and everything for all of my family members and friends. And they have a choice, right? They do what works for them. My thing is to lead by example. So the person who asked me to explain my logic, or they wanted to understand my logic, I don't know if people are really open enough to understand my logic, or if people, a lot of people, just listen to react or respond instead of really listening and accepting. I've learned to accept a lot of things in my life that I cannot change. The only thing I have control the only thing I have control over is myself, my thoughts, my life, my environment. And that's it. And I especially can't tell anybody to do anything that I don't or wouldn't do myself. So I'm a firm believer in lead by example. So also for these religious people, whatever religion, if you're practicing, or if you're preaching it and not practicing, I'm definitely probably not going to be a follower. Yeah. I don't believe in, I hear all the time, only God can judge me. Yet, we have a lot of humans judging humans. I think that if the world was easier for my brother, he wouldn't have been so upset and gone through some of the experiences that he went through, or he would have been more able to speak freely, like people are doing now, and certain religious groups have a problem with. I do believe in relationship. I definitely have my relationship, which in my experience doesn't seem like it's supposed to look to other people. So they don't think I have a relationship, or because it doesn't look like they think it should look. And I can just, I get this from the way that I hear people speaking to me. I could be wrong, and what I do know is I do have my relationship, and I do what works, and I do what works for me. And I have conversations with the master of the universe daily. Like, I don't sit and designate a time for prayer. I have ongoing, continuous, constant conversations all the time. It's like talking to myself, but not. It's talking to the higher power with me, because we're all emanations of God. Like God is the sun and we the rays. So, for one to ask for understanding of my logic is one thing, and I hope they do. I hope that it's understandable. And if it's not, I hope that, maybe not even, I don't know if I hope, because it really doesn't matter if people understand me or not. What matters is that I know myself and I understand myself, and I'm free of worry and guilt and blame and victimhood and things that leave people powerless. I'm rooted in faith over fear. And I have connection with my brother. I've had conversations with his spirit. So I absolutely know that he's free. I don't know. That's it for me. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'm open to have a conversation. If you can be open, to actually have a dialogue and not like coming from judgment or anything like that. This will be in my book. I'm currently writing a story about this, and right now it's my first story. And for those who are interested in being part of getting a sneak peek and writing a review, I would definitely love your support. Okay, that's it. Ciao for now. Peace. Love ya. Be love. Go out there and be love. Not hate. Nobody needs hate. It's enough of that.